Hello, ladies and gents. Happy Friday. Today, you and I are just going to be reviewing everything that we've learned about money and time. So let's go hop on our workbooks and we're going to do some practice. So the practice pages that we're going to be doing today start on page 493 in your workbook. So go ahead and make sure you have your pencil and you're on page 493. So pause me if you need to. And then when you're ready, come back and we will get started. Okay. So remember, we're going to look at the left side of our page, and then we're going to do the problems on the right side. So we are going to do both sides of the page, but let's start with set A on the left and see what they're talking about with the money that we were discussing last week. So it says, when you count coins, start with the coin of the greatest value. Now remember, the greatest value means it's worth the most, and the coin that's worth the most that we talked about was the $50 because it's worth 50 cents, and then the next one down was the quarter, which is worth 25 cents, and it keeps going down. Dime worth 10 cents, nickel worth 5 cents, and then the penny at the bottom worth just 1 cent. So that's the order we go from greatest value to the least value with our coins. And so when you're adding up the values to find your total amount of money with coins, you want to start with the biggest coin, the one that's worth the most. So it says Randy has the coins shown below, count on to find the value. So remember what we do is we put them in order and then we count on. So the quarter that he has here is worth 25 cents. And don't forget, you have to put that cent symbol, the little C with the line through it, okay? And then if we add 1 dime, which is 10 cents, we would go from 25 cents to 35 cents. And then he has 1 nickel, so that's 5 cents. And if we add 5 more cents onto our 35 cents, we would have 40 cents. So Randy has 40 cents in all. That's the total amount of money that Randy has with those coins. Okay, and down here it says Dwayne has the coins below. How much money does Dwayne have? So they don't have the coins in order from greatest value to least value, so we have to do that part. So I see dimes and I see quarters. Well, we know that quarters are worth more, and so those need to be added up first. So 1 quarter would be 25 cents. Another quarter would be another 25 cents. So 25 cents plus 25 cents equals how much? 50 cents. And then we have 2 dimes, and dimes are worth 10 cents each. So we have 50 cents plus 10 more, which would be 60 cents. Plus another 10 cents would be 70 cents. So we know in all, Dwayne has 70 cents. That's the total value of his coins. Now let's go to problem number 1 on the right side of our page. Solve each problem, count on to find the total value. Remember, counting on means you start with a value and then you keep just adding on each new value until you get to your total. So it says these coins are in a jar. How many cents are in the jar? So we have a dime, a quarter, and a dime, and we need to figure out how much that is all together. We need to put them in order though. That's why they have this box and they say draw the coins in order. So which coin is the most valuable for us? The quarter. So I'm gonna draw my quarter. The way I do it when I'm drawing them is I draw a circle and then I put the value inside of it with my cent sign. Okay, so 25 cents goes first, and I could even cross it off if I wanted to. And then we have 2 dimes, and those are the same value, so we just have to draw 2 dimes. They are a little bit smaller, so if you can, I would draw them a little bit smaller just to help you remember that, and so that way you have a better time picking out which coin it is when you actually see them in person. If you draw them all the same size, it can be just a little bit tricky. So I try to make my coins the right size. Okay, now we have to count on to find the value. So we start with our quarter, which is 25 cents. And then we're adding on a dime, which is 10 more cents. What's 25 cents plus 10 more? 35 cents. And then we have 1 more dime. What would 1 more dime be? What would our total value be? Well, 35 plus 10 is 45, so it'd be 45 cents. That means there is 45 cents in the jar. Doop. Don't forget that cent sign. Okay, we're going to read number 2 and then you're going to solve it. The coins shown below are in a box. How much money is in the box? Take your time, my friends. I would put them in order first on your whiteboard and write the values inside of your pictures and then add them up by counting on and come back to me when you have it all figured out. Okay, I have my coins in order. I just drew them over here really quickly. I don't have my cent sign in all of them just because they were getting too small. So I have the quarter and then my dime and then my 3 nickels and then my 4 pennies. And that's all of my coins in order. And now I'm going to count on in my head. I'm not going to write down every single value because we're getting faster with our addition. So we can start to do some of this counting on in our head. So I start with 25 plus 10 more is 35. Plus 5 more is 40, plus 5 more is 45, plus 5 more is 50. 51, 52, 53, 54. So in this box, there are 54 cents. That is our answer. Okay, we're going to go down to the next page, or you're going to go over to the next page. You might have to turn your page. We're going to be on page number 494, and we're looking at dollar bills now. So on the left side, it says dollar bills are paper money and can have different dollar values, which we've talked about. So the $1 bill is the same as 100 cents or 100 pennies, okay? It's the same thing. $1 equals 100 cents. Then we have the $5 bill, the $10 bill, and the $20 bill. Here's our problem. Matt has $56. 2 of his bills are $20 bills. What other bills could Matt have? You can count on to get to 56. So what they're saying is that to find what other bills he could have, first we need to figure out if 2 of his bills are 20s, how much is left, and how could you show those in dollar bills? What other ways? So we're going to start by counting on with our bills. So we know we have one $20 bill and then another $20 bill, which makes $40. And then we could just go down the list and make the bills as big as we can so he has as few bills as possible. So he has $40 right now and we're only going up to 56. That's why we can't do another $20 bill because $40 plus another 20 would be 60 and he doesn't have that much money. So our next biggest bill is our $10 bill. So let's see what happens when we add a $10 bill. Well, if I add 40 plus 10, I would get $50. So draw my dollar sign and my 50. And if I added another $10, that would be 60. So I can't add another 10. Let's try a $5 bill. Well, if I do $50 plus 5 more, that would be 55. I can do that. That's not too much. And then now we're at $55 and we just have to get to 56. So we all know that we would just add one $1 bill. And 55 plus 1 would be $56. So the bills that Matt could have in his wallet would be a $10 bill, a $5 bill, and a $1 bill, and his 2 $20 bills. And I'm not going to write those in because you guys can see it there. So let's go solve some problems on the right side. Solve each problem. Mr. Park has these dollar bills. Count on to find the total value. So remember, same thing as coins. You need to put them in order from the greatest bill to the least bill first. Now, if you just do that in your head, or you write like a little 1 next to it and put them in like an order, so like 1, 2, 3, that's fine. But you need to do something so you know what order to add them up. So all I did is I just went through and I said, well, a 20 is the biggest, a 20 is the biggest. So first and then second, and then I have a 10, so that'd be my 3rd bill. And then I have a 5, so that'd be my 4th bill. And then my $1 bill is my smallest, so it'd be my last one. It'd be my 5th bill. So now I'm going to count them up in my head. You can always write the values down, you guys. It's completely up to you. With bills, I feel like I don't have to because I can see the number on the bill because it's printed. So I'm starting with my 20, plus 20 more would be 40. Plus 10 would be 50, plus 5 would be 55, plus 1 would be 56. So I see $56 that Mr. Park has. Okay. Now you're going to do number 4. Let's look at what it says. A cookbook costs $36. Mrs. Beeson has a $10 bill and a $5 bill. How much more money does Mrs. Beeson need to buy the cookbook? So what you need to do, my friends, is figure out how much money does she have, And then if the cookbook costs $36, how much more does she need? So the money she has, the money that she needs, what's the difference? Okay, take your time, do your best to solve it, and then come back to me when you think you found your answer. Okay, so my first step is figuring out how much money does Mrs. Beeson have? Well, she has a $10 bill and a $5 bill, and I know 10 plus 5 is $15. So she has $15. She needs 36 though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a subtraction problem. I'm going to do $36 that the cookbook costs, and I'm going to take away the $15 that I know she has. And whatever the answer is how much more money she's going to need. It's the difference between what she has and what she needs. That's why it's called the difference when we do subtraction. So 6 minus 5 is 1. 3 tens minus 1 10 is 2 tens. So she needs $21 still to buy that cookbook. Let's go down to the next page, or you're going over to your next page on your paper and your workbook. And we're going to do one more problem with our coins and money before we go on to time. So let's look at the left side here. Thinking, habits, reasoning. So these are things that you want to be asking yourself as you are solving problems. Okay, so make sure you are asking yourself these things, especially on Monday when you're taking your test. Okay. What do the numbers and symbols in the problem mean? Very important question. Think about what do those things mean? What does the cent sign mean versus a dollar sign? Things like that. How do the values of the coins relate to the total? That's an important question to ask yourself when you're thinking, is my answer correct? Does it make sense? If somebody has $30 and they need $50 to buy a book, and you think that they need $400 more, does that make sense? No. And that's why you have to ask yourself those questions. Even if your answer was they need 50 and you said they need 70 more. Well, 70 is more than 50, so that would be too much, okay? You have to think about how do those relate to each other and the total value that they're supposed to have, things like that when you're answering these questions, whether it's just a quick problem or it's a word problem. So be careful with those things. Let's look at number 5. Use reasoning, finish the table. Mitch has dimes, nickels, and pennies. Find ways he can make 11 cents. Show a tally mark for each coin you use. So remember, tally marks are a little counting, like sticks almost, that we use to make counting a little bit faster, a little bit easier. So the first way they did for us was 1 dime, which is 10 cents, plus 1 penny, which makes 11 cents total. Now we need to figure out another way that he could make 11 cents. And there's actually 3 more ways that we can do this. So let's think. I like to go from my biggest coins down to my smallest coins. So we've used up the dime, and there's no other way to use a dime and only have 11 cents. So we can't use any more dimes. Let's go down to the nickel. Well, I could use 2 nickels to make 10 cents and then add 1 penny, right? So I'm going to do that one. So 2 nickels would be 10 cents plus 1 penny would be 11 cents. Okay. And then let's see. We've used 2 nickels. Could we do it with just 1 nickel? Let's try it. So 1 nickel would be 5 cents. 5 plus how much equals 11? 6. So we would need 6 pennies to make it into 11 cents. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You remember how to do a 5? 5 and then 6. 6 pennies makes 11 cents. Now I want you to think, what is the last way that we could make 11 cents with dimes, nickels, and pennies? I'll give you about 10 seconds to think about it. It's the most coins. What is it? It's going to be all pennies. So how many? 11 pennies. So if we have 11 pennies, we have to write it like this. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And that makes 11 cents if you have 11 pennies. Good job. Let's look at the time problems down here at the bottom. So on the left side, it says it takes 5 minutes for the minute hand to move from one number to the next. Count on by 5s. So what we would do is we're going to count on to figure out what time it is. Now, first, we need to find out what hour we are in to read this clock. So I'm going to go find my hour hand, which is the shorter one, and see what number it is pointing after. And it is pointing after the 8. So that means we are in the 8 o'clock hour. And now, like our thing was saying, we need to count on by fives, starting at the 12, to figure out where our minute hand is, how many minutes after the hour. So I'm going to start here and go 5, 10, 15, and 20. So we stopped at our minute hand, and that was 20 minutes after 8 o'clock. So this clock, both of them now, are showing the time 8:20. Now, I want you to do number 6 by yourself. Read the time, write the same time on the digital clock, and then come back to me when you think you figured it out. Okay, let's take a peek. So we need to figure out the hour hand first. I'm looking. I see my hour hand is after the 4. So that means we are in the 4 o'clock hour. And then to figure out my minutes, I need to count on by fives to go all the way around my clock until I get to my minute hand. And that's going to tell me how many minutes after the hour. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So it is 45 minutes after 4. So that means our time is 4:45. Now, do you remember, ladies and gents, what is another way to say 45 minutes after the hour? Has to do with the word quarter. Is it quarter past or quarter to? Quarter past is 15 minutes. So quarter to means it's at 45 minutes or there's only 15 minutes left until we get to the next hour. So we could also write this as quarter to, what's the next hour? 5. We could say quarter to 5. Yeah, that's another way to say it. We have one more page, friends. Let's go ahead and head down to the next page. Okay, these are our last time problems that we're going to be doing today to help us review. So let's look on the left side of our page. It says, you can say the number of minutes before the hour or after the hour. That's kind of like what I was just saying. So let's read these clocks and figure out if it's before or after and how we should say the time. So 5:10, is that 10 minutes before 5 or 10 minutes after 5? That's 10 minutes after 5. Okay. Let's look at this next clock. Our hour hand is between the 4 and the 5, so that means we're in the 4 o'clock hour. And then if we go around our clock and read by fives, we'll figure out how many minutes it is. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So it is 4:50 on this clock. Would that be 10 minutes before 5 or 10 minutes after 5? Well, it's 4:50, and that would be 10 minutes before 5 o'clock, because in 10 minutes, it'll be 5. I want you to try number 7 and number 8, and then come back to me when you think you figured out, is it after or before, and we'll double check. Okay, number 7 says, well, our hour hand is between the 2 and the 3, so that means we're in the 2 o'clock hour. And then I'm going to count my minutes to see how many minutes after. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So my time is 2:55. So even if I'm not quite sure about the whole before the next hour, if I read my 2 choices here, 5 minutes before 3 or 5 minutes after 3, well, you guys, it can't be after 3 because we're not in the 3 o'clock hour yet. So even if I'm not sure if I understand before, it can't be after because we're not in the 3 o'clock hour. So that means we are 5 minutes before 3 o'clock. Once my minute hand gets to the top, it points at the 12, we would be pointing at the 3 over here, and it would be exactly 3 o'clock. And then on my clock down here, it says 10:15. Well, it's already the 10 o'clock hour, which means we have to be after 10 o'clock. It's 15 minutes after 10. Last set of problems down here. Let's look at the left side. Use AM for midnight to noon. So that's the morning. So from the very middle of the night to the middle of the day is morning. That's AM. And then use PM for noon until midnight. So from the middle of the day until really, really late at night, that's the evening, the afternoon, that's PM. So would we walk the dog before bed in the AM or the PM? Well, I would already be asleep in the AM, so I can't walk the dog before I go to bed in the AM. So that would have to be PM, right? That's in the evening. Eating a morning snack. They gave us the answer. Morning, right? Morning. So that's AM. Morning. Okay, You're going to do number 9 and 10. Number 9 says afternoon recess. 10 is feeding fish after breakfast. What do you think? Are they AM or PM? We have, let's read this clock. My hour hand is pointing between the 2 and the 3. So that says 2 o'clock hour. And then if I count my minutes, I go 5:10. So this clock is 2:10. Well, even if this didn't say afternoon, you guys, do you have recess at 2:10 in the morning? No, it is pitch black and we are all sleeping. So that would not be AM, that would be PM, even if it didn't say afternoon on it, okay? It says 2:10 and at 2:10 AM, we are all asleep, hopefully. Number 10, feeding fish after breakfast. Let's read the clock though first. So my hour hand is pointing right at the 9. So we're in the 9 o'clock hour. And then remember when our minute hand is pointing straight up at the 12, that's the very beginning of that hour. So it is 9 and 0 minutes after. It is exactly 9 o'clock. So would you be having breakfast in the AM or the PM? Probably AM. So feeding the fish after breakfast would probably still be in the AM. Yeah. Unless you had breakfast at like right before noon and then you fed your fish later, could be PM, but most likely you don't have breakfast at like lunchtime. Yeah, because then that's lunchtime. That's different. Okay, ladies and gents, nicely done. You do have your test on Monday. I don't want you to be too worried about you guys. Time and money are things that we have just started to learn how to do, and you are going to get so much more practice as you continue to do math, and we will keep practicing with you. On Monday, your test is just to see how much you've learned so far. But before we go, you need to look at your homework for today. Don't worry, it's not a whole bunch. Okay, so your homework for today, there's nothing for you in your workbook, but there is a quick little review quiz for you to take on Google Classroom. Okay, so use those problems as practice problems for the test on Monday, okay? Sit down, try and solve them without a whole bunch of help, because that would be really good practice for you for the test on Monday. And then if you do get stuck, feel free to ask an adult for some help, and then we can hopefully help you out with those problems, okay? And then after that, make sure you go do some Math Facts Pro, or if you're in my class, you're gonna do your 20 minutes of iReady Math today. I will not be seeing you guys next week because Miss Nichols will be coming in to teach you math. So you're not gonna see anybody on Monday, but you will see Miss Nichols on Tuesday, and then I will be back the week after that. So I will see you guys in a couple weeks. Good luck on your test on Monday, friends. Take your time when you do that test. Do your best, and I will see you in a few weeks. Bye, friends.